Good morning and welcome to my Sprint 6 video, excuse me. The first thing I want to demonstrate is in my Sprint 5 video, I didn't demonstrate the bullets being cleaned up during the scene change. So here are a bunch of bullets being spawned and recycled, and on a scene change, over here in the output, we're going to see, above all the deletions, the recycle items are deleted. There was only one of them because I was firing them like crazy, and there were 13 active ones. So all of those are recalled and accounted for and cleaned up. And going through the deletion or going through the cleanup of those active objects helped me find a lot of issues with the registration commands. Let's see if I can find any. Not the commands. The registration states for a lot of my things were cleaned up when I went back to look for them. So thank you for that comment. So for the Sprint 6, for the part 1 of the collision system, this is a very similar code diagram, class diagram to the one given to us. Tried to emulate it pretty similarly. Things of note here are the scene has some collision methods, the collision pair and the collision itself, and this method for deleting the collidable groups, and it has its own collision manager with its templatized functions. Collidable is I have collidable down here, which has the templatized functions. Both Axis and Frigate inherit from collidable. Frigate derives from game object, which derives from collidable, which is why there is no line from it. For my two sets of commands, I have the registration commands for the collision, which are template classes and derived from a non-templatized command base, just like the collision commands. These three guys, which are all template classes, also inherit from that command base. Lastly, this collidable group is a template for a singleton with the necessary collections and all that jazz. Collidable is very straightforward class. I do have the debug message for the collision here to test with the output. The first time a collidable is registered for collision, it gets a command, and then appropriate cleanup happens in the destructor, which is SCP. Collidable group is a template for singleton. This is my very complicated header file. It's the only one. It has its necessary functions, and in the creation of the instance, in the initial creation of it, the collidable group is registered for delete. Actually, would be a better name, but add collidable group delete command is also effective. And the scene manager is gonna help out with. Oh, sorry. The collision manager is going to help out with delete, but the command is submitted here. These are my commands for the collision test pairs. This one is for pairs. It's got the two collision. It's got the two collections, and then a for loop that tests all of collection 1 against all of collection 2. In the self, it's the same thing with one collection, and it tests all items of collection 1 with all items of collection 2 that are passed, where the first iterator is. And it doesn't test the self against self. As far as the deletion goes, when the collidable group is initialized for the first time with its proper type, that is sent to scene, which is then sends that command to the collision manager, and during the cleanup of the collision manager, delete collidable groups is called, which gets rid of all those collidable groups, and I can show you the output for those. Let's run it. Here I have, I can actually show you in the demo scene while this is running. There are two axes, I guess. They are set to collide against each other, and they're set to collide against the frigate. So in every loop we see, I don't know how you stop this, but in every loop we see two collision with axis with axis and one axis with frigate and frigate with axis, or actually two of those because there's two axes colliding with the frigate. So we see all of those, and we don't see the base collision output. And then down here in the cleanup, there we go. Where are they? I see collidable being deleted, an axis, collidable, come on. All the collision commands being deleted, there they are. So that's one collidable group there, and there's two collidable groups there. And that is the collidable group for the axes and the collidable group for the frigates being deleted. This concludes this video. I will see you in class. Have a good day.